Systems help us to free up some of this load because we already have a rescue plan set for ourselves in place. Hey, and welcome to the Supporting Autism Mama podcast, where we don't gatekeep our wins as special needs parents. If you're also a parent of a special needs child or special needs children, you know that the severe decision fatigue that happens on therapies, on sensory diets, on IEP plans goes on and on and on. How do you keep the household running smooth? You might just be missing a system. So today we're going to dive into why systems are important, what systems we use in real life in my home, and how you can start one in your home using the printable download at the end of this video. So first, why does a system even matter? What is a system and why do I need it? Special needs parents, we have many hats. We're there, we're teacher, we're coordinator, the list goes on and on. Have you ever heard of the term decision fatigue? This phrase means exactly what it sounds like. You're making so many decisions one after the other that sometimes you get to the point where you can't make even a simple one. Have you ever been driving down the road and you know you're going out for dinner and someone looks at you and says, "Where do you want to eat?" And you just feel this overwhelming pressure. You just roll your eyes at even the thought of someone asking that. Probably have some decision fatigue. You don't want to make even the simplest of decisions because you've been making them for yourself and for everyone in your household all week long. As parents of children with special needs, we have even more decisions to make. We have therapy appointments, insurance phone calls, doctor's appointments, and not to mention all of that stuff stored in the back of our head about what brand of food they need and how we need to cut up their pancake. Any other little bitty thing that will potentially cause a trigger and a meltdown in the middle of the store, in the middle of the living room, in the backyard for all of the neighbors to hear. And the thing about decision fatigue is we're making all these choices and sometimes we get anxiety or roll our eyes when someone asks us to get food for dinner. That's because this decision fatigue is not just when we make those insurance phone calls or when we set up our appointments for therapies. It starts to just roll over into every other area of our life. And all of these teeny tiny moments, we're just missing one thing, and that is a system. Systems help us as parents because the decision has already been made. Sit down now, for instance, create a system, and then the next time we're asked, where do we want to go to eat? Well, here's my meal calendar, and I know that on this day, we're going to go eat this. I know it's Tuesday, so I need to get the kitchen cleaned. It's Friday, so I need to get all the laundry folded. Those decisions are already made for us because we've created a system that works in our household and works for our family. So we're able to get the things done even when we're on survival mode. What is a system? A system is something that you just put into place. So think about, do you have your child's favorite snack in a specific place in the cabinet? Do you maybe take a certain item every time you leave the household to prevent a meltdown in the middle of the store? So they have that in case they start to get overstimulated. That's a system. You're just not calling it a system right now. Systems are anything that are going to help ease transitions, prevent meltdowns, and help you as a parent to be able to get things done and keep your household functioning. So now I just want you to take a brief second and just think about maybe some of the areas that you're struggling with. Are there transitions during your day that are harder than others? Are there certain things that you want to be met every week but aren't getting met because of all the other things on your to-do list? Are there areas in your home that you can set up better for success by having a clear-cut system? And if you still need some ideas, here are some real-life systems that I have created in our home that have made a huge difference. One of the most simple systems that I put together in our house is called a morning card. I noticed when my children woke up, I was trying to get caught up on a couple of chores, trying to get our homeschool set up, and my children were turning on the TV and sitting in front of the TV. And so then the transition to homeschool was so much harder because I would be like, okay, 5 more minutes on the TV, and then we'd have groans and complaining. I can deal with the groans and the complaining, but I knew that there's a better system for us out there. I have one of those 3-tier metal carts, and I used to keep all of my postpartum, my breastfeeding supplies on it. Well, my 8-month-old doesn't really need all of that at the bedside anymore. So I stripped the cart of everything that had on it and created our morning cart. Our morning cart is just something that I can push out every morning. The kids know they are welcome to use anything on that cart. And it's stuff that I have pre-chosen for them. So it's stuff that I know is going to set them up for success. There's different books on there that I know in their special interests is something that they'll actually enjoy. I have both our Yodo box and our Tony box on. Those are different read aloud boxes for them. And I pick characters or I pick cards that are, again, a part of their special. It's like they're learning and they don't even know it, or they're learning to love learning again. The thing that I make sure to try to keep on our morning cart is different things or different tasks that are going to help them meet their milestones. So I have 2 children that have some developmental delays. And so I do keep items on there with different milestones that they're struggling with. So it's just different items that I have on their cart that they're welcome to use. I've already put a clear system for them in place. Hey, you can do whatever you want of stuff on this cart. So it still gives them options, still increases their independence, still allows them to have choices, but they're all good choices. They're choices that I know are going to set them up for success. It's a way to decrease that TV in the morning so that we have an easier transition into school. And it's a way that I feel like is going to help us meet our milestones and it's going to help them gain that love for learning again. The morning cart was stuff I already had around the house. It was an easy setup. If you want to see an in-detailed video, I do have a video of how we set up our morning cart and it's over on my Instagram here. The next system that I put into place is our sensory room. There's lots of buzz and lots of hype about different sensory rooms out there. One of the things I try to preach on my Instagram account and also now on this podcast is that a sensory room needs to be very individualized. Your sensory room should probably not look the same as my child's sensory room because it needs to meet their individual goals. If you want to learn more about sensory processing, you can check out my last video where we kind of go more into depth about what sensory processing is. So one of my goals as a parent is to always increase my child's independence, teach them how to self-regulate, and supplies the tools and the accommodation so that they're always regulated in my home. And one of the ways that I've done this is our sensory room. I learned about sensory processing. I learned exactly what tools my children needed in their own sensory room. And then I set up these systems in the sensory room so that they are able to regulate all day. Each area of our sensory room is very intentional. I made sure to hit whatever sensory input they needed. There are certain things in our sensory room. There's different forms of heavy work and a few other areas where I need to be here, but there's lots of areas in our sensory room where I need to run no intervention. They can come in here and they can self-regulate. Teaching them what it means to self-regulate and how to self-regulate when they do leave my home. This provides 2 tools for my children. It supplies them with independence and the tools to self-regulate while I keep my sanity, because they often come into our sensory room and get regulated when I'm trying to get the laundry done or get chores done around the house, plan the next week, whatever it may be. But I know that the sensory room is a place that they can go where they can increase their independence, where they can regulate, and where they can get their needs met. If you want an even deeper dive into sensory processing than what I provided in my last video, I do have a course that I will link down below. This course goes in-depth into the 7 different sensory inputs and how we can learn about those inputs to create a sensory-friendly home for our children. It also goes through a room-by-room guide to how we can create sensory-friendly environments in each room of our home. The third system that we have in our home is a cleaning schedule. Now, our cleaning schedule is not just a simple checklist or something to do when we have a sudden burst of energy. Our cleaning schedule is a system that we have in place in our home. So on days when I'm feeling extremely burnt out, I know, hey, it's Tuesday, it's time to clean the kitchen. Hey, it's Friday, I need to go fold the laundry. Those systems are already put into place and that routine and predictability is already there enough that I know it needs to get done. I don't have to put any other effort into the decision of what needs to be clean. I just know my system is already put into place. And the beauty about a cleaning schedule, especially one that you create for your family, is that it can be as in-depth or as laid back as you want it to be. I've seen cleaning schedules where they go around and clean the baseboards once a week, or they go around and they're steam cleaning all the things in their home once or twice a week. And although that's great, and I love that for those people, that's not something that at this time we can do in our home. And so our cleaning schedule might look a little bit more laid back than everyone else's, but it provides us enough structure to where our home is functional, our home is clean, not always tidy because I have 4 children that like to leave their toys all over the house, but our home is always clean because of our cleaning schedule. And a side note that I've also found since creating our cleaning schedule is my 8-year-old who loves predictability has started helping me. He's like, hey mom, it's Friday. I need to go put my laundry in the washer. We create predictable schedules for ourselves that also sets our children up for success because they crave and they love that predictability too, because they have decision fatigue just like we do. And if you're looking to add a cleaning schedule to your home, I've created a downloadable bundle at the end of this podcast that will include a cleaning schedule if there's a template that you would like in order to create a cleaning schedule for your home. There's one that has lots of things filled in, and then there's also a blank one if that one's a little bit too in-depth for you. This next system is so simple and something I highly, highly recommend. It's just a calendar. We have a large chalkboard calendar that I keep in our kitchen area. And it's something that my, again, 8-year-old goes to every day to see what is on our calendar and what he can expect for the day. I just keep basic things like our appointments on there, our therapies, if my husband works, if I work, if they're going to the grandparents, if we have homeschool PE or different other co-op activities, that all goes on our calendar. And so my children can just walk into the kitchen and see what they can expect for the day. Very basic, not anything quite like a visual schedule. It's very, very minimal, but they can kind of get a basic overview very quick about what's going to happen today. They can also see what day of the week it is. We live in Missouri and we live in Tornado Alley. So once a week on Mondays, our tornado sirens go off around noon, just as a practice, because they want to make sure those work, especially in the springtime here. 8-year-old, when he goes to the calendar to look at our events for the day, and notices it's Monday, then prepare, hey, at 11:50, I need to go put on my noise canceling headphones. And that's just another way that it helps him prepare. Very, very simple, highly recommend. The last system that I'm going to talk about today is on-the-go systems. So I have a couple of on-the-go systems that I, again, have shared in Reels on my Instagram. So if you're not following me over there, make sure to go check out my Instagram profile. I have 2 on-the-go systems that I really like. The first one is called a sensory go bag. So in my sensory go bag, I put all of the sensory equipment, the AAC device, different things that I know my children are going to need every time we leave the house. I always put the noise canceling headphones in there. I always put the AAC device in there. And I try to throw in some fidgets and some oil timers, different visually calming things or things that they can fidget with when they do get overstimulated and overwhelmed. If you're going to a new place, a great thing to add into your sensory go bag would be a visual schedule, a social story even, if you have created one or the place that you're going has created one as well. Be a great thing to add to your sensory go bag. I do have a free sensory bag checklist, and I'll link that in the description. And the other on-the-go system I've made is I got one of those huge trunk organizers off of Amazon. Filled it for my family. I did put like emergency response stuff in it, like our first aid kit, a tush baby in there because I have an 8-month-old. That way I can carry her around when she needs to be carried around in the store. Some of the things that I put in it personally for our own family is that sensory go bag. So there's a personal compartment for that. I also keep one of those dividers for our food, but I put all my kids' safe foods in it. So I like to have those on hand in case we, again, have a meltdown or get overstimulated out in public. It's already in the car. I know it's there. Also keep a blanket in the trunk organizer. Maxwell gets very overstimulated in like the big stores like Walmart. Anytime we go grocery shopping, any place where there's going to be quite a bit of people, we always bring a blanket for him so he can cover up, so he feels nice and secure. So I always keep a blanket in our trunk organizer. If your child has a stuffed animal maybe that they always keep with, maybe they like their weighted vest out in public, those are just different things that you could keep in your trunk organizer in the back of your car. It's always there for when you need it on the go. So having these tools on hand helps me to prepare and to have the tools that I know work to help regulate them when we're out in public. These systems have saved us from several meltdowns and early dismissals while we're out in public. So now I want you to think about your own day. Think about when you are maybe having a difficult transition with what is something that's difficult or you struggle with every single day trying to get done with your family. Maybe what's a goal for your family that you're trying to accomplish but keep falling short. Those are things that I want you to have in the back of your mind when we go through these next steps. So first, I want you to identify that challenge. For me, with the morning car, it was, okay, we're watching too much TV at the beginning of the day. It's making our transition to homeschool just a little bit too difficult. We need to find a system to help us get from here to here. Once you have identified the problem, it's time to think about your goal. What would be the perfect solution to this problem? I wanted my children to turn off the TV and have more productive things in place. So for me, it looked better to be building blocks or building with our magnet tiles or listening to our Tony box. That all seemed more beneficial and more appropriate to me than sitting in front of the TV and watching Bolt for the 3,000th time. I want you to think about your problem and define what success looks like for you and your family. What is your problem and what do you want the end result to look like? And then number 3 is to take that goal and to just break it up into simple steps. So again, the example of the morning cart. So I knew I had that metal cart that I didn't need anymore. I grabbed that metal cart. That was my first step. I thought about what exactly I needed to put on the metal cart. What did I want to replace screen time with? So that would be number 2. Number 3 was to physically just go get those items and fill up that metal cart. So we now have a morning cart in place of our screen time. Another thing to think about during this step is how you maybe can include your child. I went to a store and got some Minecraft things for my son. So we really like to include his special interests to help us meet some of our goals. So we went to the store and they had several different organization systems that had the Minecraft characters on them. So I grabbed them and I brought them home. It's like, I know that there's several things that we could use these for, but maybe let's include Vinny. So my 8-year-old sat down with us to try to figure out what he wanted to put in these organization systems. He sat there and he smiled real big because he loved that they had the Minecraft characters on them. And then he said, hey, my brothers are always trying to steal my mouse. Talking about his mouse for his PC. My brothers are always trying to steal my mouse. What if I put it in this drawer so they can't get to it? That's one of the systems that he set up for himself. He said, my brothers won't be able to get to it if it's in this drawer, and I'll always know where it's at. By sitting down and doing that with them, he actually created his own system. He now knows where his mouse is all the time, and he solved a problem. So he identified a problem, he went and set a goal, and he found a solution all by himself. So you've defined a problem and you've identified what your goal will be. You've set that goal up into several different steps. Now you get to find the tools to help you meet that goal. This would be me physically going to get the products to put this cart together. This is always my favorite part. I love systems. I love organization. So my favorite part is always putting it together. And you can be as detailed as I was. I went and sat down and I figured out all the kids' milestones, expectations, where they needed help with, made lots of lists because I'm very type A. But you can also as simple as a template or a calendar. So a system can be as in-depth or as easy as you would like it to be. Whatever works best for your family and is going to make your family function more appropriately. Finally, in order to implement a system into your home, I want you to try it for 1 full week. A system is something that's not going to happen overnight. You might have to adapt and change. It might not be as cookie cutter as it looks on paper. I want you to try it for 1 week and see what you need to adapt and change and see if you can improve it. Maybe there's a transition that you didn't think about, or something that's really difficult for your child that you forgot to take into consideration. Those are different things that you'll find out after trying this system for 1 week. And then you can decide we need to just try a completely different system, or if we can just modify and continue moving forward with this one. Be consistent, but be flexible. And one of the biggest pushbacks I've heard about systems is, well, I'm not organized for a system. Spoiler alert, you do not have to be organized in order to create a system. You just need to be tired enough of the chaos that you're ready to make a change. And systems aren't about color coding perfection or those Pinterest perfect organization systems that you see. Systems are small things that you can change in your home to just create better transitions to meet those goals, to make your household more functional. It's actually very individualized in what works best for you and your family. I love systems because it really helps me to fight that decision fatigue when my brain is just fried from all the other decisions I've made that week. Systems help us to free up some of this load because we already have a rescue plan set for ourselves in place. You probably already have more systems in place that you realize. We just call it survival mode. Now we're going to add structure and create our own system. And if you have found a system that you think works for your family, make sure to drop it below in the comments. And as always, make sure to go follow me over on Instagram at ASDmama1017. Thanks guys. Stay strong out there.